AEW and New Japan, in conjunction with Stardom and CMLL, will return to pay-per-view with Forbidden Door, headlined by a 12-man tag match featuring teams led by MJF and Mark Briscoe, as well as interpromotional showdowns. The event helps set the stage for the rest of the summer, with lots of huge matches on there. So without further ado, let's get straight into things. And we're going to start things off with the buy, and starting things off with Drilla Maloney defeating Daniel Garcia, one of the hardest stars in New Japan wrestling, dealt with Death Riders, a devastating loss to kick off the show. A good solid match and perfectly set the tone for the rest of the broadcast, and Maloney had the fans in stands early invested. As we then moved on to Micah versus Sky Blue, Micah cashed a ticket to the tournament to crown the new TBS champion with a hard-fought victory over again Sky Blue, a performer who steadily improved in ring time. Blue is long overdue for some victories though. And then finally, Divine Dominion defeated Thunder Rosa and Olympia. Bane and Cross face their toughest test to date, defeating the team in a hard-hitting, hard-impact match to wrap up the buy-in. Divine Dominion is rapidly becoming one of the best parts of the AEW Women's division. And yeah, overall, I thought all the buy-in matches are pretty solid. I'm going to give it all a 6 out of 10. As we then moved on to the Young Bucks versus Mystica and Mascara Dorada versus Takagi and Titan. And they wasted little time delivering its trademark party tag match, kicking this year's show off with a freeway dance with non-stock action, a series of creative reversals and counters, high-flying, and a Young Bucks win. They bested the other teams in the opening contest, which had fans popping with every high spot. If you're a fan who enjoys frenetic action, constant moving, that's not weighed down with storytelling overbooking, this was for you. The right team went over, given the significance to AEW, and the West crowd ate it up. So I'm going to give it 6 out of 10. In their first match since 2018, Omega and Sabre Jr. proved why they're among each other's finer performers in a brilliant match in front of a red-hot crowd. A hard-hitting, unphysically physical match that battered each other with strikes. Sabre utilised joint manipulation and unrivaled techniques to attempt to neutralise Omega, while the Best Bout Machine relied on snapdragon suplexes, V-triggers and ultimately the one-winged angel to finally defeat the best technician in the business. A long competitive match highlighting both men's strengths. It's destined to rank among the night's best contest regardless of what follows it, and the best Omega bout I think we've seen probably for a good few years. So yeah, overall I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. As we then moved on to the International Championship match between Bandido and John Moxley. Moxley had an AEW pay-per-view match and someone played. That's not surprising anymore, but nor should it be. In this case, however, Moxley's buddying of Bandido following a pile driver on a steel ring steps served a purpose in that it protected the reigning Ring of Honor World Champion and gave him an out. Claiming the leader of the Death Riders could not dim his fighting spirits, the Luchador put up a great fight, surviving everything Mox threw at him, including a Death Rider. Bandido delivered moonsault and battery for a near fall, but the champ recovered, chucked him in the bulldog choke, and ultimately scored the win via ref decision. A good match to put the relentlessness of the champion over and the resilience of the face. He never gave up. It's not as good as its predecessor, but it did a good job of highlighting the characteristics, protecting the title holder in ROH. 7 out of 10. As we then moved on to the Umano versus Pac for the IWGP title. Another strong match and a string of them tonight. They enjoyed a slower build than others on the show, but when it hit its stride and the action intensified, it picked up fantastically. Pac put Umino through hell, tossing everything at him. He tossed him through the ring and through a table on the arena floor, locked him in a brutalizer. Umino fought through it all though, proved his toughness and resiliency, pulling off the victory. A tense stare down with Mox after the match gave way to a surprise appearance in Hiroshi Tanahashi, who joined Umino in the ring and put the belt around his waist in a show of respect and adulation. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. As we then moved on to the Women's Championship match between Starlight Kid and Thekla, and yes, Starlight Kid entered the match with 2 previous wins against Thekla and no signs of fear as the Toxic Spider entered the ring. Kid caught Thekla off guard early, starting hot. The champ pulled to the momentum though, cutting her off during a dive attempt and seizing control. A confrontation with Stardom President Okada nearly cost her the advantage, but Thekla refocused, continued her attack. At times she allowed her hubris to get the best of her, including a spider suplex when Kid bounced her ring up and kicked her off the top rope. Then she saw a spear attempt countered, then ate the Black Tiger Divine Punishment on the ring apron. The challenger tortured the champ, stretching her in a modified stretch muffler submission. Thekla fought to the ropes to force the break, finding an opening and delivering her trademark spear. She strung together offense and delivered consecutive stomps, scoring the win. A great match that told the story of Thekla's overconfidence, nearly costing her, only to then lean on it to get the win. Never out of the match because of how good she is and how much she knows it. Thekla seized the opening and got the win, even after Kid nearly knocked her off on several occasions and had her reeling. After the match, Thekla cut off Kid's mask, spat in it, and then attacked Okada with it. One last insult to her former boss and the Stardom promotion. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. We then got Cage and Cope versus the Dogs for the tag titles, and Switchblade Jay White is back. He returned in the closing moments of the match, aiding Copeland and Cage in defeating Finlay and Clark to retain their gold. The shocking twist occurred at the end of a fantastic match where the Dogs did the champs reading, proving themselves capable of hanging with an all-time great. At the points in the contest, they successfully isolated opponents and appeared to have a legitimate chance of capturing gold, even more so after the official took a spill and Finlay obtained his family's trademark shillelagh. The return of the Bang Bang Gang and the long-awaited comeback of White put an exclamation point on the match and set in motion events And it should lead to a battle between the former Bullet Club members, which should be excellent. 7 out of 10 for me. As we then moved on to the Owen Hart Women's Tournament final, Maya Wild and Mercedes Moné. A star was born in Maya Wild here, who rolled into San Jose and delivered the match of a lifetime against Mercedes Moné in the finals. Made history, becoming the first athlete to win 2 Owen Hart Foundation tournaments. But it was Wild who stole the headlines. The 23-year-old paid an incredible journey to Findor, a defining performance in which she pushed Moné to the brink of defeat, and more than on one occasion, winning her tournament by trapping the heel into her own submission move. Ultimately, she would tap out to Moné, but not before announcing herself to the rest of the world, and not for a young woman who has only began training in 22, and credits Moné for inspiring her. So yeah, hats off, this was excellent. As we then moved on to the 12-man tag team steel cage, Team Briscoe versus Team MJF. Briscoe, Takeshita, Darby, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy against MJF, Fletcher, Okada, Kevin Knight, Jake Doyle and Andrade. Debuting a new circular steel cage that engulfed the ring, AEW has entered a wild and chaotic battle in this penultimate match. Chaos ensued, as we would expect, with weapons galore. In the front spot, the infighting between MJF and Andrade reared its head, with Lilo getting the upper hand and louder reaction from the crowd. When the heels regained the upper hand, Cassidy produced an orange slices from Willow Nightingale mid-match vibration break, then used the juice in Fletcher's open wound. Later in the match, Leo Rush appeared, terrifying the heels and taking them out one by one, doing his best gun. He expressed his desire to have MJF's Dynamite Diamond Ring, the 8 Rainmaker from Okada, for his troubles. The heels bagged him up, chained the duffel shuffle and slid him back under the ring. A devastating Blue Thunder Bomb from Takeshita to Fletcher gave way to a big bump by Knight through a table onto the coffin cage, and a coffin drop from Allen to the rest of the field. In the ring, Briscoe delivered a J Driller to MJF, but Doyle broke out the fall. The most important spot of the match was they saw Andrade lay out MJF and reiterate his desire for a title match. A low blow to Doyle set him up for a J Driller of his own, as Briscoe won the war for his team. This was excellent. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. We then got the final of the Owen Hart tournament, Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland. Bloodied and battered, his neck had the target of his opponent throughout the main event, but Will Ospreay weathered the storm and will now challenge for the world title all in London in August, defeating Swerve. The aerial assassin overcame a bloody forehand and a neck that was constantly under attack from Strickland before utilising the relentlessness and aggression taught to him by the Death Riders. He busted Strickland open, unforgivingly unloading with kicks and a rolling elbow to the back of the head, but that couldn't put him away. In return, he ate a vicious Swerve stomp to the back of the head. Both exhausted, they emptied the proverbial chamber on each other, but unable to put the other down for free. The Death Riders surround the ring from here, showing solidarity and support for Ospreay. Fired up, the Bloody Brit responded with a paradigm shift, and then a Death Rider, and finally a Tiger Driver 98 to win a match of the year contender between two of the top stars in AEW. The victor shared a moment with 12 after the match and celebrated to close out the show. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. Forbidden Door gets an 8 out of 10 for me. AEW on pay-per-view is a sure thing at this point. No point in pro wrestling making their big shows feel more important, with stars delivering their finest performances and a surprise or two elevating the event. That didn't change here. While there were several matches with little to no bearing on AEW TV for the foreseeable, the quality was undeniable and the final 3 matches were the best on the show. Ospreay v Swerve is an instant classic, one of the best in AEW history. Was it a slam dunk last year have been? No. Was it still largely a great show? Absolutely, and AEW remains the standard in my opinion for PLE. So yeah, great stuff. That's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.